Hello and welcome back to another PathFinder update video, and today I will be showing you the progress that I've made in the past 2 weeks. So yeah, without further ado, here's the demo.
Welcome to PathFinder. Feel free to look around, and when you're ready to get started, press Y. Before we begin, let's define a question to which you wish to find an answer and note it down. Click Next when ready.
How do I deal with procrastination?
Great. Let's choose the card which reflects your current situation. Now, let's choose a card that demonstrates your desired state. Now, let's determine your biggest obstacle. The next card will show you possible solutions you may undertake. Almost there. Let's choose a card that will show you the resources and strengths you have. Look at the first card you selected.
Mary had a
What
little
would be
lamb.
happening? What emotion? Look at your second card. What challenge does this card represent? If this card
Love and
symbolized your
affection.
main roadblock, look at the third and fourth cards. What possible solutions do these cards
Mushrooms
suggest?
and rainbows.
Imagine this image as advice.
Mushrooms and rainbows.
What message might it be giving you?
Mushrooms and
Think
rainbows.
of one small action you could take today. Look at your fourth card. What strengths
Building
or external
bridges.
support does this card suggest? Who or what in your life could help you move forward? Have you faced a similar challenge before? What worked for you then? List 3 strengths or resources
Raincoat.
that could help you overcome this. Look at your final card. How does it represent your goal or ideal future? If this card
PathFinder.
symbolized success,
So yeah, as you can see, there's a little bit of things to unpack there, but yeah, I think the biggest thing, or I guess the primary thing that that is like the highlight of that, is the fact that the speech to text has been modified and has been refactored, and now we're using another plugin. We're no longer using the old plugin, which is a little bit inaccurate. It's actually so inaccurate that it became unusable. The way that I was using it previously was that I would utter the questions slowly so that it would actually be able to just understand what I'm saying. With this speech to text that we're using, which I'm gonna get into later, it takes into account that you can be speaking a little faster or even just in a normal voice. The previous one, you literally had to utter your words like very carefully because of how unusable or unreliable it is. And I think the reason why that is because of how little the training data is for that particular speech to text, because there are different versions of that speech to text. Actually, they're different, like, you know, if there's like a bunch of data in it, there's a small model, there's a big model, and there's a large model and stuff like that. And the one that we had was a little bit in the medium side, which is 100 megabytes. Because it is running locally inside of the Quest, it cannot exceed that much. So it can't be better than that, basically, or else it's going to slow down the game. So that's really why we switched to another speech-to-text service, and this speech-to-text runs in the cloud. It's called Wit AI, and it's actually acquired by Facebook. Like, Meta owns this speech-to-text, plugin through the Meta Voice SDK, and basically it records, it records the player's voice, and then it sends like the audio to the cloud, and it uses like something called I think it's like ACR, which is automatic speech recognition, and it's used to transcribe the text. And it's part of the Meta ecosystem, so it's more or less compatible with the Quest 3. It doesn't waste the CPU or GPU power compared to like if it was like running locally like previously. It just sends it to the cloud and let AI do its thing, So yeah, I think this is the best solution that we have right now, because I actually did so much research. The other speech to text is owned by like OpenAI. Actually, they have this model called Whisper, and there's this voice recognizer, speech recognizer plugin that costs so much. It costs like $100 plus something dollars, but this speech to text is actually free. So it was just a compatibility issue that prevented us from actually using it. I encourage you to test it yourself just to see how accurate it is, because it really does depend on the person, on the environment. And I really would like your feedback on this, and how good the speech to text actually is, or how accurate it transcribes whatever the user is saying. Here's me trying the speech to text.
How do I deal with chronic stress? Hey there, Delilah, what's it like in New York City?
And I would really like your feedback on it, so I could refine it a little bit more. But there is something that I've noticed with the speech to text, is that when you activate it, it takes like a second to load. So maybe there has to be a little sound cue for when the speech to text activates and deactivates, so that the user knows when to start speaking and stop speaking. Right now there isn't that signifier yet, but I will be adding that in the next build. So yeah, the speech to text works now. It works so much better than the last one. The last one was super inaccurate. Like it was just bafflingly inaccurate, because again, it was ran locally, and a locally ran speech to text is a little bit of a no-no, because it's not the best model in the world, because the bigger models do not run well in the Quest 3, and so I think a cloud solution is a better solution. So yeah. Next are some of the improvements that I made with the instructions. So now I've added the instructions on your wrist, so that because I will be incorporating, I think this is also in the next build, I will be incorporating like subtitles for the voice lines that are playing, so that people are able to follow, and if people stop paying attention for like a second, they'd be able to follow with what they're saying still, because it'd be better if the screen or the front of the player, or where the game manager isn't super cluttered. So I took out most of the instructionals in front of the player and added it onto the wrist, so they could just look at their wrist and bam, there's instructions of how to reflect, and how to activate the speech to text, and also how to like modify your previous entry if you weren't satisfied with it, because you are able to modify it by just pointing at the previous entry and talking, and then after you're satisfied with it, press A. Although I haven't added a bit of the signifiers, which are the things that sort of signify that you have confirmed, or this is like the previous session. I'll probably add if they're modifying a previous card, I'll be putting the highlight onto that card as opposed to the sequence. So yeah, I'm just gonna be making modifications probably again next week, because today this week in particular, I just worked on a lot of the speech to text and the mechanics and how the game, or just the big stuff. I'm just gonna add some more refinements next week. So yeah, again, instructions are now on your wrist. Hopefully that's more helpful than it is on the screen, so that at least they could also look at it anywhere. If they want to hide, they want it's just better if it's on the wrist and stuff. I feel like, so hopefully that really does help. Next is that the cards now automatically flip when they're pulled by the laser. Initially, the way that I implemented the grab or the pulling of the cards with the laser is that the user gets to pull the card and then they flip it. They have to flip it, which is it's not very intuitive because you have to like it's sometimes your arm or hand is positioned wrong. So as soon as you flip it, it's uncomfortable. And you know, people with arthritis, it's not very good. It wasn't the best implementation in the world. So now, as soon as you pull, as soon as you're able to like, as soon as you pick up a card, with a laser, you're able to it's just flipped and it's automatically grabbed for you. Again, initially, it wasn't grabbed. Initially, it was you actually have to manually grab it to actually let go of the card. I don't know. It was kind of weird the way I did it. Now I refined it even better. So as soon as you press on the card, you're now able to view just the card, and just if you're looking at the card and you're inspecting the card, after that you could just let go of it. And yeah, I just made that little refinement. Hopefully that is a better implementation than how I did it previously. Next is that you are now able to re-speak your previous entries. So for example, you were talking and reflecting on one card, the second card and the third card, and you're like, oh wait, I think I'm not satisfied with my first reflection, or that, like, it could be better, or that you thought of something in the middle of you reflecting on the third card or something like that. You are able to just hover with the laser, hover around the first card, or like, and you are able to just hover over it, hold the speech to text like you normally would, just hover and then hold the speech to text button and then re-speak. That's all you have to do. Hover and hold. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you're satisfied, click on A, because that is the next button. And as soon as you click on A, you go back to the normal sequence. And yeah, I've added that so that people could go back to their entries, they'd be able to modify it, and it's like a seamless experience. Again, I do want to add more signifiers saying that they've confirmed it, they've confirmed their entry and stuff like that. Because right now I've only implemented like the mechanic of it, not really like the way it should be inside of the game itself. Last but not the least, I was able to make a major refinement on the previous journal system. So previously, or initially, the way the journal worked was that you open it and the UI displays, right? And then the text of what your entries are would be saved inside of the journal, and you'd be able to view it. And like how the journal, like what the journal, like what you reflected on, what your cards were, or at least the names of the cards, like what they were and what your question was. But we decided to go another way of actually implementing the journal, because again, that way of just looking at the UI and being able to just, you are seeing your questions, you're seeing your you're seeing your reflection, but you're not really seeing the cards you reflected on. And as I said, like previously, I was also contemplating like how that would be implemented, like how would there be, we were just brainstorming how the journal would be implemented. And this is actually the best way to go about it, was to actually go back and be able to show their previous entry on the screen itself. So basically, they'd pretty much just click on the journal and they'd be able to see their cards, the cards that they've picked in the exact sequence that they've picked it on the screen, just like they did previously. And the reflections are also under the proper cards, and their question is on top, and the date, so that it's an actual proper journal that they could keep coming back on. And they could like use the right joystick to go left and right, and they'd be able to look at their journal and like skim through it, like have a record of what they said. And hopefully in the future we'd be able to like delete and modify it. I was also able to save the journals in a format, in like a standardized format of year, month, day. Like right now, it's actually, the journal is actually not being saved into text files, which is what we were hopefully intending. But the built-in way that Unreal Engine actually has it is that they're saved as .sav files, like .sav files. And it's stored in binary, unfortunately, but it's just a form of organization of their journals, you know, like internally. Although right now I have not dealt with state management, it's probably what I should be dealing with next week. So right now, if you try to play the game after viewing the journal, you won't be able to, because it wouldn't recognize what state you are on. But I will be refining my blueprints into taking that into account. So yeah. So that has been my progress for this week. Hopefully, you know, I mean, I'm really so far, honestly, I'm just happy that the old speech to text is gone, because that was a little bit of a pain to work with. It took me a while to set up, like that previous one, because of just so many problems with not even with the blueprints. I mean, the blueprints are fine. There are some issues there with it saving internally and whatnot. Like there's some stuff that are questionable, but it's just the accuracy of it. It's just that's something that I'm not able to fix, is that particular speech text is just not that accurate. That's why we had to replace it with the Wit AI that Meta has, and hopefully it's a better solution and it's a better alternative. I encourage you to check it out. Check the APK out and try the speech to text yourself, hopefully to also get some feedback about it. And so yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next update video. Bye.